Welcome to Fall Summit, a story-based podcast about tales, trails, and epic fails. I'm Octavia.
And I'm Em. For today, we're going to be doing things a little bit different.
Are we?
We're going to shake it up a bit.
Are we shaking it up?
We're shaking. We're baking it. We're making it. Okay, but anyway. We'll be bringing you one very special story and our thoughts on the tale. Usually we bring you two stories. Today we're bringing you one. It's a bit more special. It's a bit longer in length.
Yes.
And as always, we'll end with Trail Mix, where I'll bring you 3 songs, and then Trail Etiquette and Other Shit
By me.
by Tave.
By Tave.
Octavia, for those of you who are not on a first
What?
nickname basis.
There you go.
Okay.
You were so close.
So close, yet so far.
Oh my God. Can I tell you a funny story? It's gonna be cut. So when I was talking to my mom the other day about...
Did you say my mommy?
My mom the other day.
Oh, I heard my mommy the other day.
When I was talking to my mom the other day, I was telling her about how the whole thing with the give me my money bitch. And I said something about how it would be fine if he just disappeared. I'd be fine with it. And she's like, you can't say that over the phone. They're going to think you're going to murder him. I'm like, I didn't say anything about murder. You did.
Oh my God.
So don't talk on your phone about murder because the government's listening.
True that.
Anyway, how are you doing today, Em?
I'm doing good. I just smoked.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
So,
you're always on another level when you have a little bit of weed before I record.
Yeah, so we'll see how this pans out.
Yeah. We're in for a bumpy ride.
In for a bumpy ride, folks. But other than that, I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm feeling okay. I think I might be getting a little bit sick a little bit. I don't know. I have a little bit of a throat thing going on, so it's possible that I'm getting sick.
I can't afford to be sick, so please keep it to yourself.
Oh no, I can't be getting other people sick. I know, but hopefully I'm not. I'm drinking my little tea. Got my tea.
What's special about your teacup?
My teacup has its own little lid to keep it hot, so I can sip on it all day long.
And where is it from?
I have no idea.
It says on the bottom.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Mexico.
Ooh.
And on the inside of the lid, it says, be gentle.
That's cute.
I'm not sure.
It looks like the handle's breaking, though.
That's a little bit, yeah, it's fine.
We're going to have to...
Mugs break.
No,
dishes break.
That doesn't break, so...
Oh, okay.
That's not an option.
I got that
for you. I know, but no.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are... so you also can't get sick because this weekend on Saturday, we're going to the city to an off-road called
Drag Race the Musical.
I don't think it's called that.
Pretty sure it's called that.
Is it?
Yeah. Or maybe it's called Drag the Musical. But it's Drag Race Queens. And they do a musical, and my brother did see it, and he said it was amazing. I think he saw
the Musical.
Drag the Musical?
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
Yeah.
Correction.
Really
Drag the Musical. Either way, I'm pretty sure that Jimbo is headlining it.
We confirmed that.
I looked it up online.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited. There's another queen that's also headlining it, but I cannot remember the name right now. But either way, we are huge Drag Race fans, so I'm excited.
Also am I.
Also am I.
Me also.
But I'm also excited because whenever we go down to the city, we get to go to a nice place to eat. And by nice place, I don't mean it has to be super fancy.
Yeah, it's Jimbo.
By nice, it is Jimbo?
Uh-huh.
I was right. By nice place, I mean it has to have good food and a good atmosphere. And we are going to...
Oh, God, Jan Sport.
You're just going off.
Jan Sport, though.
I know. Jan's kind of annoying.
Oh,
and
it is Jujubee.
It is Jujubee?
Jujubee's there.
Oh, okay. But she's not headlining it.
No, Jimbo's headlining.
Yeah. Jimbo and who?
Somebody I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you know?
What's the name?
Nick Adams.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yes, because it's a common name. Nick is a common name. Adam is a common name.
Yeah.
together, it's a common name.
Okay.
They're a Broadway actor, singer, dancer.
Oh, okay. So they're just a guy. Oh, I thought there was okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. Back to what I was saying.
Yep.
We are going to try and go to that really awesome ramen place that we went to that one time
I did
in the
like the ramen
meatpacking.
place.
Yeah, in the meatpacking district. So I'm excited.
Yeah, because you got to sit on a milk crate.
You get to sit on milk crates, and you also they don't take reservations, so it's like first come first serve.
And it's tiny.
It's teeny tiny. So we're gonna try our luck. And if not, there's a Thai place around the corner that we're gonna go to. But hopefully we'll get into the ramen place. I really want that ramen. It'll be good for my throat if it's still bothering me by Saturday. Yippee!
Okay.
In other news, didn't you say you were watching the Grammys the other day?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah, bits and pieces, but like social media bits and pieces.
Uh-huh.
So which bits and which pieces did you like the best? Because I've been waiting to hear about the bits and the pieces.
Oh my God, stop. You're
and
weird.
I want to know.
You're weird.
What are your highlights?
The highlights this year was that the Grammys were queer.
Oh,
Good
the
one.
Grammys were queer.
The Grammys were really queer this year, though, for real.
Yeah.
Like the best part of the night, hands down, like no contest, period, was Doechii. Doechii is amazing.
Yeah, you played me some of the music recently, and I really like it.
And she's very queer, and she's very young. And the fact that her, Lauryn Hill, and Cardi B were the only 3 females to have ever won the Best Rap Album, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But came out and did like a performance of Catfish and Denial is a River, which are like 2 big songs for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was wearing a jockstrap outfit. It was
awesome.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Just that.
Yeah. We've had performers come out in meat dresses, so.
Yeah.
It's they're looking for a way in to stand out. So I think that was a great choice to stand out in.
For sure.
Yeah, classy as fuck.
And I don't know if wearing a
it's classy as fuck.
Okay.
Period. Stop.
Damn. Don't try to do those slangs.
What?
Period. Stop.
Isn't that what it is? No? Is it stop and then period?
I don't know, dude.
Is it full stop and then period?
Yep. All of these are really good. Write them down.
Like full stop. All the things are different. You can't say them all at once.
What's the actual fuck?
Okay, I'm not that old. I know what that means. Thank you.
Okay. And then
moving on.
Chapel Roan.
Okay.
Won Best New Artist, which is a really big win for queer visibility in music. That's amazing. Good for her. Also a really big ally for like trans people in particular, like all LGBTQ folks, all queer folks, but specifically trans people. And then Janelle Monáe gave her speech about self-expression, queerness, finding your own voice in the industry that tries to mold you. It was really powerful. What else?
I don't know. What else?
Oh, Lady Gaga gave a speech about, it was kind of more of like this love letter for trans rights and visibility. Aww. That was really good.
Love her.
I don't know. It just felt like for once, like I don't care about the Grammys usually, but like, it actually felt relevant and
I think especially in those times right now where the LGBTQ community is being attacked so vehemently.
Yeah.
For no fucking reason, having like visibility and representation is, I think, even more important.
Yeah, I agree. But that's all I've got for you.
That's all you got?
It was gay.
Super gay. The Grammys are gay.
Gay again. Make America gay again. Too soon.
Too soon. Always too soon. Never okay.
But that's literally that's really funny though, because like their whole slogan and whole thing is like, I'm a MAGA. Like, oh, I'm a MAGA. All right, you want to make America gay again?
Oh, jeez.
Good for you. Cool.
That's funny. I don't know if I've heard that joke, although it sounds like one that should have been used sooner.
I'm sure it has been.
Yeah. I'm sure there's t-shirts.
Yeah.
Have you seen
weird.
the T-shirt where Elon Musk is President Trump's first lady?
Yeah, I mean, and what's different than the reality?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing at all. They're
nothing
all
at all.
a bunch of banana folks in the White House these days. But anyway, I think that we need to get into our story because it is a thick, juicy one. Should I say that? No.
Never say.
Should I keep that in? It's just because it's funny and gross.
That's what she said.
I don't know. What do you think?
Why are you doing this?
These are just normal words that you
No,
only think is funny right now because A, you're stoned.
Yes, and now you're drawing attention to it.
Yeah. Em's going to bring us our first and only story of the day.
Oh, I'm reading this. Oh, crap.
Yes, you are.
Oh, no. Okay. So the only story that we've got for you today, because usually we do two, today we're doing one.
Yep.
Special episode. It's called Everest Dreams and Himalayan Realities.
Everest Dreams and Himalayan Realities.
So I feel like that could, be a great slogan for a 70s
coaster. Beer cozy.
No, like a 70s psychedelic album.
Oh, yeah.
Everest Dreams and Himalayan Realities.
I agree.
And then it would be all tie-dye and trippy on the cover.
Yeah.
There would be a tongue sticking out with an LSD tab on it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's a vision right there. That's a vision.
Yeah.
I like it.
Great. So it was brought to us by an Instagram follower, Brandon Meagher. He's on Instagram as bmeagher27. And he nicely sent us this story amidst moving.
Yeah.
Very promptly, actually.
Really
It was
promptly.
surprising. I could not do that
if
I was moving.
I was like, oh, you're moving. It's fine. Just take your time. But literally 2 days later, he's like, here you go. That
was the longest wait we've ever waited.
It was like
for a story.
Yes. Also, he sent us this story, and the reason why we decided to make it just our episode is because he just sent so many wonderful details. We didn't want to exclude any of them. We really wanted to do the story justice and tell it in its full vision.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to do that, we decided that the best way to do that is to just have this be a solo episode. So Em is going to read it to me, and then we're going to discuss and have fun with it. So I'm excited. Yay.
3 thumbs up.
Let's get into it, Em.
Let's get into it.
Did you think you were not reading today?
I don't know. I thought I was going to get away with it.
You're the better reader. Hello.
You're the better read.
You want me to read it?
No.
I can read it.
Bob, we do not have 2 hours. Whereas I'm just kidding.
It was for the bit. I didn't take any offense.
You did.
I didn't actually.
No.
It's for the bit.
For as long as I can remember, I've always been fascinated by Nepal, particularly Mount Everest. I vividly recall being a kid in my elementary school library, staring in awe at a giant picture book filled with photographs of Everest. The images of men and women climbing this behemoth made them look like superheroes in my eyes. From that moment on, my obsession with all things Everest, Nepal, and high-altitude mountaineering began. I checked out that book and spent nights lying in bed, mesmerized by the images, dreaming of being among those summiting the mountain. As I grew older, my fascination only deepened. In high school, I recorded every documentary I could.
Documentary. Yeah.
Okay. In high school, I recorded every documentary I could find on TiVo. Yes, I've just aged myself. Young millennial here. Am I a millennial?
Yeah, barely.
That's awful. Sorry. Yes, I just aged myself. Young millennial here. About Everest and the Himalayas. I devoured books like John Krakauer's Into Thin Air, learning about K2, Annapurna, and the harsh realities of high-altitude mountaineering. You've read this book, right, Tape?
I did a long, long time ago with my dad, so I would say it was probably like 1998. Now I'm aging myself because I was 13 at that time, I think. Yeah, 13. 12 or 13. I just remember it being bananas. But for the listeners, I think we're going to share a little synopsis because the book is really, really good. And if it's an older book, so probably the next generation maybe not has not heard of it, or um, it's just lost a little bit of its light. I don't know. Either way, it was really good, and it was a amazing, insane story. So, Into Thin Air is a gripping firsthand account of the 1996 Mount Everest disaster, in which 8 climbers lost their lives in a deadly storm near the summit. Krakauer, a journalist and experienced climber, was assigned by Outside Magazine to report on commercialization of Everest. He joined a guided expedition led by Rob Hall, a highly respected mountaineer from New Zealand. The book details the challenges of high altitude climbing, the physical and mental toll of the ascent, and the increasing number of inexperienced climbers relying on guides to reach the summit. On the May 10th, 1996, multiple teams, including Hall's and Scott Fisher's, attempt to summit despite delays and overcrowding on the mountain. As a powerful blizzard descended, many climbers were stranded in deadly conditions. Krakauer recounts the heroism, confusion, and tragic mistakes that led to the high death toll. Hall and Fisher, both expedition leaders, perished alongside several clients. The book also examines survivor's guilt, the ethics of high-altitude mountaineering, and the limits of human endurance. Anyway, that's kind of like the synopsis of what the story's about. But reading it, I mean, that doesn't even give it, from what I remember, I mean, this was many, many years ago, because we are now recording in 2025. So think about that.
Crazy.
Crazy. It still stands though. I would think, from my memory. We're gonna have to read that again because it was really good.
Yeah. He's
It's-
also the one who wrote Into the Wild.
And he also wrote Into the Wild. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I both of those books to me were great. Did you read Into the Wild?
I can't remember if I read it or I watched it.
Oh, right, because they have a movie of it. Yeah, I think I probably watched the movie of that one also. Did they make a movie version of Into Thin Air? I don't think so.
Not to my knowledge.
Well, anyway, from my memory, it was really good, and I can't imagine it not holding up. Anyway, they made a movie out of it, so if you're not a bookie person, you can watch the movie. Although books are always better than the movies, so they'll probably be missing something.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, good book, good movie. Back to the story.
Back to the story.
On to the story.
Great.
Great.
Let's go. I felt like I was becoming an amateur historian on the subject. But actually, traveling to Nepal and seeing those mountains up close, that felt as unreachable as going to Mars. It wasn't in the cards for me, but I could dream. Years later, in November 2019, my wife and I moved to Arizona, where we fell madly in love with hiking. We began visiting national parks across the Southwest: Grand Canyon, Zion, Canyonlands, Joshua Tree, Painted Desert, immersing ourselves in the rugged beauty of the desert. We became true desert rats, addicted to the trails and mountains of this landscape. I think I'd be a desert rat if I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that's like where all my love of neons and cigarette smoke and leaning against a swinging door and
Yeah, except for
diners
you don't
and coffee
you don't like when it's hot, so
or lizards or racism or homophobia.
yeah.
But
Or the prickly cactuses.
I love the aesthetic.
Yeah. You like you're an aesthetic desert rat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
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 Oh, it could be like I could do an art project out there or a meditation retreat. Or
I don't like meditating.
I would meditate if it was in Joshua Tree
Oh, okay.
under the stars. Like, can you imagine
Sometimes
taking peyote?
Yeah. Sometimes I think that you think you're one person and then I have to remind you you're not. Oh my God.
I'm just channeling my mystic and
You would not like taking peyote because you don't like when you're that altered of you can't control your own body.
yeah. Well, maybe if I was surrounded by the right environment.
And you would feel completely awkward doing a meditation regime. Like, this is weird. Sometimes when you get into those circles of like the meditation, like it's so intense that it's a little bit granola-y.
I want granola.
Okay.
So let's try this out.
You have you're an interesting human.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just flipped my non-existent hair. Then at the end of 2021, my wife, fully aware of my lifelong obsession with Nepal and the Himalayas, found a travel zoo deal. A trekking outfit in Kathmandu was offering a guided 7-day trek on the Mardi Himal Trail to Macha Picchu Base Camp. We researched the trek and learned that it was an excellent introduction to trekking in the Himalayas, perfect for beginners at high altitudes. As we crunched the numbers and budgeted, my heart pounded. Is this really possible? Am I actually going to see the Himalayas, the mountains I've been dreaming about since childhood, with my own eyes? Once we confirmed we could afford it, we booked the trip, set to take place a year and a half later. Aw, that's supportive.
Yeah.
That's nice of her.
What a nice partner.
Yeah.
I really think that, more people should have partners like that will put everything on hold for, someone's dream to make that a reality.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're so sweet. We're both thinking it. Awkward.
I can't help it. When you have a dream, I just can't stop but try to make it a reality. I'm so supportive and so nice and generous and lovely. Anyway,
You are this
would
thing.
you uh would you ever climb a mountain would you ever try to go to the Nepal and Himalayas and try to climb a mountain?
Yes, if I was in my meditation era.
Oh, okay. When's that happening?
So apparently, according to you, never. So
No, I think medication. You definitely need medication. No.
Wow.
I think meditation is actually really beneficial and you would probably benefit from it greatly.
Mhm.
Also medication, but that's another subject we can have later at a later date. Later date. No, I think you actually would enjoy it. It's just there's some of the hokiness that I think that
Would make me
would
uncomfortable.
make you uncomfortable, yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to get the stick out of my butt a little bit.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, I think you would.
Yeah, I would.
It's lodged really good, though.
It's really stuck.
It's so stuck.
You're ridiculous. Okay, bye.
Yeah, anyway.
Can we continue?
Please do.
Great. From that point on, we trained relentlessly. We tackled long hikes throughout Arizona, traveled to Colorado for high altitude hikes, and pushed ourselves to prepare for Nepal. Then we set out. During the trek, we stayed in tea houses along the route. These humble lodgings, essentially a cross between motels and hostels, are the lifeblood of many Himalayan villages. The lower altitude villages are sizable, but as you ascend, they shrink, becoming clusters of homes clinging to the mountainside. Families run these tea houses, with kids playing outside or helping with chores. I remember meeting a woman who stayed at her tea house at 13,000 feet for 2 weeks at a time before hiking back down to visit her daughter for a week, only to hike back up again. This was her livelihood. These people took immense pride in their homes, despite the rugged conditions. One story in particular encapsulates the generosity of the Nepalese people. After our summit to base camp, we returned to our tea house, exhausted. My wife wasn't feeling well and soon realized she had unexpectedly started her period. She hadn't packed any hygiene products. I went to the common area and asked our guide if he had any. He didn't. I returned to our room to let my wife know, unsure of what to do next. Minutes later, there was a knock at our door. I opened it to find a young boy, maybe 8 or 9 years old, the son of the tea house owners. He shyly told me that he had overheard my conversation and that his mother wanted to help. Moments later, his mother appeared, handing me several pads. I tried to pay her, knowing how limited supplies were at this altitude, but she refused. No money, she insisted. That evening, our porter Kieran, a kind-hearted man who spoke little English, called me outside. I was confused, but followed him. He unzipped his puffy jacket and pulled out a collection of tampons and pads. Kieran had gone to every tea house in the village, bartering with his own possessions to gather these for my wife. I tried to pay him, but he shook his head. This is for your wife. She needs these. No money. That's amazing.
That's incredible. Can you imagine having very limited resources and still bending over backwards for just a stranger
That's the
in need?
thing.
I know.
That's the people that have limited means that tend to be more generous than people who have all the means.
Yeah. This says a lot for the one percenters in our country.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I would love to see one of them living in a humble situation. Like they would probably still not get it. But I really do wish more people were like that.
Yeah. It's a good
And
point.
maybe we should take a page.
Community.
Yeah. Maybe we should take a page out of this book, learn from this story. Maybe we could all learn a little from this story about helping thy neighbor or what have you, and being more generous in spirit and in action. It could go a long way. Yeah. I love it. I love this story.
And make no mistake, you're roughing it. The toilets are holes in the ground, there's no heat, so when temperatures plummet, you'd better be prepared. Showers? Possible, but only if you want to pay a few rupees for a gas-powered one, where you might have hot water for a minute before an icy blast reminds you where you are. But each tea house has its own personality, painted in vibrant blues and reds, adorned with Tibetan prayer flags fluttering in the wind. They served authentic Nepalese food, steaming cups of masala tea, a lifesaver after long days of trekking, and provided tiny rooms where we slept in our sleeping bags. The communal space was my favorite part, where trekkers from all over the world gathered, playing cards, swapping stories, and sharing why they were drawn to Nepal. We met people from Australia, Germany, New Zealand, South Africa, Japan, and England.
Do you I want to look this up really quick because I'm pretty sure that the tea that they're talking about is the same tea that the guys drink. I know it's masala chai too. What's the salt tea called? So the masala tea is like a masala spice, but the butter tea is um a lot of Tibetans drink because it has salt in it and butter. Like they literally it's like a salty tea, and basically it acts as it like warms up their body and like holds the heat in because the temperatures are crazy cold, especially in the winter. But I know a few Tibetans, and I was talking to them about it the other day, and they told me that they have a really high cholesterol count in those areas that drink this butter tea because they're drinking gallons of butter tea every day. How much butter do you think that must be?
It's not just made with butter.
No, it's tea and butter, but they put like butter in the tea. They put like
But they're not drinking gallons of butter.
No, but it's because they drink so much butter, the butter tea, that it creates high cholesterol in a lot of communities. Yeah.
That's crazy.
A little bit of tea knowledge. I like my tea.
I do like your tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both types.
Yeah. That's true. Okay. Spell it.
That's what I was waiting for.
You're welcome.
One thing that struck me was the stark reality of Nepal's economic situation. In some villages, there was no plumbing or electricity. Children bathed using buckets of cold water. Elderly women carried heavy baskets of food up grueling trails, paths that we as Westerners viewed as tough hikes, but for them were just another day. These families weren't thinking about long-term financial goals. They were thinking about how to put food on the table today. It was humbling, especially as a privileged middle-class American who could buy a week's worth of groceries without a second thought. A moment in Kathmandu shook us to our core. While visiting Pashupatinath Temple, one of the most sacred Hindu temples in Nepal, we encountered families living in makeshift shelters of cardboard and scrap metal. Little children, covered in filth, ran barefoot through the streets. As two white Americans, we stood out, and they ran up to us. We handed out granola bars we had on us, but we didn't have enough. One little girl didn't get one and followed us for 10 minutes, pleading for food. Oh,
it's so sad.
My wife was in tears, trying to explain we had nothing left. I hesitated to give her money, fearing it would attract a crowd, but I quickly handed her 5 rupees, and she ran off. We continued our tour in silence, forever changed by that encounter. I stood there, overwhelmed by their kindness, tears welling in my eyes. In that moment, I saw the soul of Nepal, not in its mountains, but in its people. The radical generosity, the willingness to help a stranger with no expectation of anything in return. That moment, more than any summit, is what will stay with me forever.
Oh, the end of that was like a heart ripping out of my chest. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that really touched me and moved me in ways I wasn't expecting. I mean, you and I, we kind of worked on this story for a little while and put it together, but like hearing it all together and hearing you read it out loud, um, it just hit me all over again, how people in other parts of the world are suffering in lots of different ways, and in this way, not having resources, limited means of getting those resources. They're at high elevations, it's not easy to get to. Plus, the poverty level in those parts of the world are, we can't even imagine because we don't live in that reality.
Yeah, I've never been to a country like that. Closest I've seen is, the movies of representations of places with high poverty levels. Um, Millionaire being the one that comes to mind the most right now.
Yeah,
Just because of its representation of all the poverty in India.
that's a good example.
But like he said that they're one of the most generous people that he's ever encountered.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
Yeah. I mean, to still have that level of generosity. I am inspired. I think that there's the story that they submitted was amazing. I really had fun working on it. Um their epic quest, if you will, seems like it was life changing,
Yeah, it does.
Um it's kind of like sometimes you have those life experiences that are life changing and you go back to reality and you try to bring that with you and keep it with you for as long as you can. And some people go back and they don't change, and some people go back and they change. Hmm.
Depends on the human.
And I think with your empathy, are you kidding me?
Which empathy? I don't have any.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? If there was
Oh
like,
God, I can't imagine.
if there was like bubbles over your head, like in TikTok when they put like the bubble over your head of like what you're thinking or what your greatest attribute is, it would say empathy. Just that's what it would say. Empathetic human.
Yeah.
Just a
Sometimes
bowl full.
I think sometimes, just to segue really quick, because it sounds like these people who wrote into us are also empathetic people.
Yeah.
Um, because his wife was crying and like some people wouldn't have that kind of reaction.
Yeah, I agree.
But like people who are highly empathetic, I feel like sometimes they're like depending on the level that they have, they build up all these like walls,
Yeah.
to try to protect themselves because if you felt that much all the time,
Yeah.
then you wouldn't survive.
No. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. You'd probably give all the kids all of your money too, though.
So thanks for sending in that amazing story. It was really, really fun to record. And if you have any more like that, send them our way.
Yeah, send them our way. We love that. We love all things.
So next on the docket is trail etiquette and other shit.
All right. So trail etiquette and other shit today. We're going to talk about mountains.
Whoa.
Wow.
Really?
Mountains. High altitude hiking.
Ooh.
To be completely accurate, tips for assimilation. So we decided to pick this as the trail etiquette because it really aligns with the story that we brought you guys. If anyone else is thinking of doing high altitude trekking, you should listen up. Put your listening ears on and focus in on what we're talking about. All right, hiking at altitude. Trekking in high altitude destinations like the Himalayas, the Andes, or volcanic peaks such as Kilimanjaro and Denali is an unforgettable experience. Traveling above 8,000 feet comes with physiological challenges as the body adjusts to lower oxygen levels. Being properly acclimated is key to avoiding altitude sickness and ensuring a successful adventure. What is acclimatization? Acclimatization is the body's natural processes of adjusting to a high altitude environment where oxygen levels are low. At sea level, oxygen is plentiful, but at higher elevations, air pressure decreases, making oxygen molecules more spread out. As a result, each breath delivers less oxygen, forcing the body to adapt by increasing respiration and red blood cell production. Without proper acclimatization, hikers are at risk of altitude sickness, which can range from mild discomfort to life-threatening conditions. This process takes time, and rushing into high-altitude trekking without preparation can lead to severe health risks. How to acclimatize properly. Arrive early and take it slow. Spend a few days at moderate altitude, 8,000 to 10,000 feet, before heading higher. Gradual ascent. Increase sleeping elevation by no more than 1,000 feet per night, above 10,000 feet. If climbing to 15,000 feet during the day, aim to sleep at 12,000 feet. Incorporate rest days. Taking acclimatization days allows the body to adjust without overexertion. Stay active but not strenuous. Light walking or sightseeing helps adaptation without putting too much strain on the body. Hydration and nutrition. Drink plenty of water and eat a high-carb diet, as carbohydrates require less oxygen to metabolize. I did not know that. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
No. Altitude sickness. Symptoms and risks. Even with proper acclimatization, altitude sickness can affect anyone, regardless of fitness or experience. Symptoms often appear above 8,000 feet and worsen with rapid ascent. Acute mountain sickness, or AMS. Common symptoms: headache, nausea, dizziness, loss of appetite, trouble sleeping, and fatigue. I sound like one of those commercials that tells you to take this medicine to help your one thing, and it's just going to cause all this other shit. Accurate. Don't mess around with AMS. Mild AMS usually improves within 2 to 4 days if no further elevation gains occur. Rest, hydration, and over-the-counter pain relievers can help. Moderate AMS symptoms worsen, including persistent headaches that doesn't respond to medication, vomiting, and poor coordination. Descent is necessary before continuing. For severe AMS, if symptoms progress to confusion, inability to walk, or breathlessness at rest, the condition may be turning into life-threatening HAP, H-A-P-E, or HACE, H-A-C-E. Immediate descent and medical intervention are critical. Now, what is HAPE? H-A-P-E, high altitude pulmonary edema. That sounds really serious. It is a fluid buildup in the lungs, so it is very serious. Symptoms: shortness of breath at rest, persistent cough, chest tightness, and a feeling of suffocation at night. Prevention and treatment: avoid rapid ascent. If symptoms appear, descend immediately and seek medical attention. Now, what is HACE? Another bad one. High altitude cerebral edema. So, cerebral edema? Head. Brain swelling due to fluid leakage. That sounds almost worse than the first one. They both sound really bad. Symptoms: severe confusion, loss of coordination, slurred speech, and difficulty walking. Prevention and treatment: this is a medical emergency. Immediate descent by at least 3,500 feet is required. The affected person must be accompanied and evacuated for medical care. Preventing altitude sickness, right? So now we went over what is altitude sickness, how to ascend properly, the worst of the worst that you can get from altitude sickness, which sounds really horrible.
I would not want to have it.
I would not want to have either of those things. That's scary. But you can prevent it, and we talked a little bit about how you can prevent it already, by ascending slowly, staying hydrated, eating a high-carb diet, avoid alcohol and sedatives, pace yourself, check in with your group, making sure that you're with somebody that knows, what the symptoms are, if they can recognize them in you, and vice versa, buddy system. And there are medications that you can take. If you do have any of the altitude sicknesses, either the low, moderate, or the HACE or the HAPE, there is treatment. You just have to really take it seriously, and get to a medical facility immediately. Stat. Yeah.
ASAP. All capitals.
Yeah.
2 exclamation points.
Another good point, though, is that if you have a pre-existing health condition,
Right.
you need to consult a doctor before attempting a high altitude trek, because
Yeah.
you might be like, I feel fine, I'm fine, but if you have some kind of existing um health underlying health thing or something, like that, that might aggravate it.
Yeah, who knows? Like, you're not a medical expert. You need a
Yeah,
second
you need to be
opinion.
cleared on it. It's like you have to get all these shots before you go to some countries.
Right.
Same thing. And if you are doing a high trek in Nepal or one of these other regions, it's always good to have a guiding company to bring you, show you all these things. They can really help recognize if you are experiencing um, high altitude sickness. So that's also
Know what to look.
they'll know what to look for. They probably have seen it more than you have, and they know what they're talking about. Anyway, that is what I have for you for our trail etiquette. What do you think, Em? You have any questions about altitude sickness, how to avoid, and how to treat if you have it?
Yes. So, if I am going up a hill
Yeah.
and I start to feel my brain swell,
Yeah.
how high am I?
You just need to push through it. You'll get to the top of that hill. Your brain's not swollen. You're just a little out of breath.
Thank you.
That's what I think.
That's answered my question.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
I sure don't. On to trail mix.
I can't wait for trail mix.
No, thank you for those tips and tricks and words of wisdom.
Oh, thank you.
Because I think that I did take something from it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your big takeaway from the trail etiquette and other shit?
That
You won't be hiking the Himalayas.
know that you need to seek medical advice before taking these
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
things. Because, like, that's not just an ordinary hike. That's a really high altitude, intensive hike that you need, like, massive
Yeah.
preparation for.
And honestly, after doing this research and going back to our original story, they're impressive as hell.
Yeah.
Those two. They're impressive as hell. You go, I can't even. I'm amazed. It's amazing. So I'm even more impressed with their story, and I'm even more in love with their story than I was before. But anyway, I think we need to get into trail mix. What about you?
I would agree.
Do we have a theme for our mix today?
Spirituality.
Is it really? Is it meditation?
I've assumed the character, the identity
I'm a meditator.
of a prophet, meditator, mystic.
Oh my God, that reminds me that
Just watch
we
something on-
just watched Elizabeth, and the episode we watched on Elizabeth was about a guru,
Yeah, and then
a murderer.
remember we were watching the documentary about Charles Manson and about how he turned into a guru of
Oh
sorts.
yeah, yeah. We got to finish that. That was bananas.
Yeah, it was cool.
What is it called? Like the Manson tapes or something?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, but
It was good, though.
it's Manson's tapes. Like everybody, we got the Bundy tapes, we got the Manson tapes, we got who else? What other serial killer wants to bring us some tapes? I mean, Manson wasn't really a serial killer. He was more of an influencer killer.
Yeah.
He was like a serial
People talk him up
killer.
there, though.
They know they
put him
do
there.
because of his, because he was like the OG influencer, right? Of 1996, 1996, 1960s.
Yeah, but by definition, he's not a serial killer.
By
'cause
definition,
he
he's
didn't
not.
kill anyone physically.
Correct.
And serial killing is more than how many people?
Oh, I think it's more than 3. And I think it's
But, like,
more than 3 in 3 different
scenarios.
3 different times with
Or else it's a mass murder.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's probably not the OG influencer, but he's definitely one of the most notorious influencers of our,
You
like,
got Bundy.
yeah. Well, Bundy's not an
I know,
influencer. He's just a
but
murderer.
he was charismatic
Yeah,
and could influence people because he, like, had a
that's
lot of
true.
people thinking that he was innocent.
Yeah. This is our serial killer segment of the
Yeah,
podcast.
okay.
If anyone wants to have more of that, let us know. I love talking about serial killers.
First on the list is
On that note,
Harbor Lights by A Silent Film. There's something about Harbor Lights that feels like standing at the edge of the world, watching the past and future blur together in the reflection of the water. It's cinematic and sweeping. The way the piano and drums build makes it feel like a pilgrimage, a journey that keeps pushing forward even when the weight of the past tugs at your heels. In the sacred quiet of the mountains, this is the song that reminds you why you started the climb in the first place. Second is Closer Than This by St. Lucia. Closer Than This feels like the thin air at high altitudes, light, expansive, but charged with something bigger than yourself. St. Lucia has this way of making synth pop sound almost spiritual, and this track is no exception. The layered vocals and glowing melodies make it feel like sunrise breaking over the peaks, a reminder that even in the most isolated places, you're never truly alone. It's about longing and connection, but in the mountains, it takes on a different meaning, like a conversation between you and the universe itself, reminding you that some distances aren't measured in miles. And 3 is Walking on a Dream by Empire of the Sun. Some songs feel grounded, this one doesn't. Walking on a Dream drifts weightless, like stepping into a realm where time doesn't quite work the same way. The steady beat and ethereal vocals make it feel like moving through a dreamscape, kind of like the way the Himalayas feel, where the world above 10,000 feet exists in its own dimension. It's not just a song about chasing something, it's about surrendering to the journey, letting it carry you somewhere unknown. And maybe that's the lesson of the mountains too. Not everything needs an answer, and not every step needs a destination.
well, thanks, Em. I think that I really liked how you tailored these songs to our episode today and our story and our trail etiquette. Love it.
Ties it all in.
Ties it all in. All right. Well, I guess final thoughts. Thanks again for the story submission. We both enjoyed it a lot. If I were a trekker, what that did high altitude backpacking, that kind of thing, I probably would want to do this. Because it's inspirational.
You want to hike in the Himalayas?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, I think.
There's also this movie that I saw at Upstate
Yeah.
a while back called The Velvet Queen. And it's set in the Himalayas. It's about I think they're French.
I think they're French too.
Yeah.
I
It's
remember when you went to
definitely
see it.
well, I mean, it's definitely the language is definitely French, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they're French.
Why would they be speaking in
'Cause
French?
you speak French in Montreal, you speak French in other places. Well, anyway, it's a French language documentary, and it follows these two photographers as they try to attempt to find a snow leopard in Tibet.
Ready.
Yeah. And it
Was,
was really beautiful
yeah.
and moving and philosophical, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, some of those movies, I mean, some of those movies that don't have a lot of dialogue, like the documentaries that don't rely on dialogue and just rely on the beauty of nature,
Mhm.
they can be meditative.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do you meditate at that time in your life?
When I watch a movie?
When you watch movies like that? Yeah.
100.
I would say so.
I do. I come
Sure.
out don't I always call you after, like,
Yeah.
if we're not together, I'll either drag you to it,
Yeah.
or if I know you that you won't enjoy it, then I will go, and then I'll call you, and won't it be, like, the best film I've ever seen, and it was
Yeah.
life-changing?
And you tell me everything that happened, every aspect, every emotion you felt during. Yeah.
I feel a lot of things when I watch movies.
Yeah. 'Cause you're empathetic.
And also because of the music and, like, just the cinematography. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so
You're, like,
good.
in a different world.
Yeah. I would say that can be your form of meditation. I don't think there needs to be rules on how to meditate, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate. I think you can meditate, well, people meditate all the time by hiking.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. You don't have to just sit in a room all quiet with your legs crossed. So
Do
I
you have any
think
final thoughts?
I was inspired by the story, and then I really appreciate them submitting it to us and taking the time out of their moving to, get this in. So I'm sure it was a welcome break from moving boxes, though. Okay. I hate moving. Moving's the worst.
Moving is the worst.
The literal worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah. I wish them more adventures in the future, collect more stories that they can share with us, and we can do more episodes about stuff like this, because we do a lot of epic fails. We do inspirational stories, but an experience story, absolutely. We'll take it. It's called False Summit, Tales, Trails, and Epic Fails. This is a Tales and a Trails.
And not really
an epic fail. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
it could be one or
all three.
All three. Or two. 1, 2, or all three.
Or none.
Or none. It's just a story about you're out in nature, staring at a tree.
Okay.
And then you describe said tree.
Okay.
In detail.
Walden's Pond.
Yeah. All right. So I think you can find links in our show notes.
As always, follow us on Patreon and check out our merch store where we have some new items up for sale.
But that's it from us crazy people here at False Summit,
where every mountain is just one more almost there.
And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you didn't enjoy it, that's your epic fail, and ha to you. And so sorry you didn't like our submitter story. That's not nice. You should all like it and subscribe it.
And hey, if you've got any questions, stories, or trail fails of your own, hit us up. Email us at falsesummit.pod@gmail.com or falsesummit.pod on Instagram or YouTube. We'll be back next week with more tales of misadventures and questionable decisions. Until then, happy trails.
And don't fall off a cliff. See you out there.